I'm going to be using the Macbeth story by William Shakespeare, and I'm using this for a teenager intermediate level. Today we are going to be reading a story, and we're going to be answering some WH questions, like the vocab that we went over last class. So we're gonna cover the vocab that we went over in last class. Who can tell me what kind of answer is for a who question?
Usually like a name of a person.
Mm-hmm. What about a where question?
A location.
Mm-hmm. A when?
Time. Or
A what?
now?
A thing, yeah, like some sort of noun, like person, place, or
Well, not a person, because that's a name. A what? Calling a person a what?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree that a what should be like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm going to pass out this story, Macbeth, by William Shakespeare. I would like y'all to get into pairs, and I want y'all to popcorn read or read together and then discuss the story.
Aloud or in our head?
I would like it to be aloud so you can get communicating with each other.
Okay.
You start.
Okay. Scotland is at war and has just won a great battle. Macbeth, a general in the Scottish army, is the hero of the battle. On his way home afterwards, Macbeth and his friends meet three mysterious witches. Somehow the witches already know Macbeth's name. They tell him that he is going to be promoted and that he will be given more money, land, and power. When they say Macbeth, the future king, Macbeth is confused and doesn't really believe the witches.
Soon afterwards, Macbeth receives a message from Duncan, the King of Scotland. King Duncan wants to reward Macbeth for his victory and has decided to promote him, giving him more money, land, and power. This is exactly what the witches said would happen, so Macbeth wonders if it is also true that he'll become king one day.
Macbeth's wife, Lady Macbeth, soon hears about her husband's success in the witch's predictions. She becomes excited about the idea of her husband becoming king, and she wants to be the queen herself. But she's worried that Macbeth won't do anything to make it happen, so she comes up with a plan to murder King Duncan, who is coming to stay up in Macbeth's castle that night. At first, Macbeth doesn't like the idea, but Lady Macbeth has a very powerful personality and is very cold-blooded. She persuades him that murdering Duncan is the best thing to do, and that she will plan everything.
That night, while King Duncan is sleeping, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth make his guards drunk. When the guards are asleep, Macbeth comes into Duncan's room and kills him with a knife. Next morning, when the king's death is discovered, Macbeth kills the guards and tells everyone that he did this because they killed the king. Duncan's son, Malcolm, is frightened that he might be killed too, and so he escapes to England to lie low and stay safe. With Duncan dead and Malcolm away in England, Macbeth becomes King of Scotland and Lady Macbeth becomes Queen.
But Macbeth is worried that his friends might become his enemies and might want to kill him so that they can become king. So he hires murderers to kill his friends and their families. But now Macbeth starts imagining that he can see the ghost of his murdered friend. At dinner that night, the ghost appears to Macbeth, but no one else can see it. Macbeth behaves very strangely in front of all his guests.
Macbeth goes to see the witches again, who make more predictions. But they tell him that he will be safe until a nearby forest comes to his castle. Macbeth is relieved. After all, forests obviously cannot move.
Lady Macbeth is tortured by the guilt of Duncan's murder, and she has started sleepwalking and thinks she can see blood on her hands. She cannot get her hands clean, and she finally goes mad and kills herself.
In the meantime, King Duncan's son, Malcolm, has organized an army in England to invade Scotland and punish Macbeth for killing his father. Macbeth's other enemies join with him, and the army march towards Scotland.
Macbeth waits for the English army at his castle and is convinced the witch's predictions mean he's safe, but he's terrified when he hears the English army is using branches from the trees of the forest to protect themselves. He realizes what this means. The forest really is coming to his castle. Macbeth is no longer safe, and he is killed in the battle. With Macbeth dead and his head cut off, Malcolm becomes the new king of Scotland.
Awesome. And now I'm going to be passing out Macbeth questions. And I'm going to go through these as a class and answer these questions. I'm going to read out the questions aloud, and you're going to discuss with your partner the answer. So, who was Macbeth's wife?
Lady Macbeth.
Where did the story take place?
Scotland.
When was King Duncan killed?
At night in his room.
Yeah, while he was sleeping and when his guards were sleeping.
No, they were drunk.
Yes, you're right.
Why were they drunk?
Because
Macbeth and Lady Macbeth.
Playing
Got them
ticket
drunk.
and drunk,
Why is Macbeth worried?
yeah.
If you need to look back in the story, you can and discuss with your partner.
Macbeth was worried because his friends
Well, might become his enemies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
betrayal.
Yeah, might want to kill him.
Why does Macbeth's wife kill herself?
Because of the guilt of killing Duncan.
Yeah, she's very guilty and she has hallucinations, seeing like blood on her hands, and that kind of drives her mad.
And she killed herself.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Macbeth act strange?
In front of his guests, he sees a ghost of his dead friend.
Mm-hmm. That he ordered to be murdered, or
Yeah,
maybe he
assassinated.
murdered himself. Yeah.
Who did Macbeth kill?
King Duncan.
And his friends indirectly, and some guards,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
Lots of people.
And then where did the Forest Army come from?
England
England.
with Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Final project. This is the second consecutive lesson for the teenager intermediate level. Okay. For this activity, we are going to be playing Jeopardy using the Macbeth story that we read last activity. And we're going to go over the WH questions again. Can anyone tell me an answer for a person? Or a question word for a person?
Who?
What about for a time?
When?
A place?
Where?
And maybe for an explanation of
Why?
yes. Awesome.
Okay.
And so I'm going to explain how to play Jeopardy. We have a board up here that has the categories, characters, events, time and place, and then just random that has some odds and ends just randomly about the story. And we have a $100 category, a $200 category, and a $300 category under each one of these topics.
Yeah.
Now, you're in two teams. Team 1, Team 2, and each team is going to go one by one and pick one of the categories, and whoever can answer it the fastest by hitting the buzzer will be able to have the chance to answer it in a WH question format.
Okay.
So if I were to say, the teacher of this class, what would it be?
Who is Miss Haley?
Awesome. Okay, so team 1 is going to go first.
Okay.
Pick your category.
Characters for 300.
Characters for 300. King of Scotland.
King Duncan.
Who is King
Oh,
Duncan?
damn it!
Awesome. We need our questions in a WH format because that's what we are going over, and that is how Jeopardy goes. So, it is a trick question, so
Who is Macbeth? Who is Malcolm?
correct, you got all of them. It was a trick question. There are 3 kings in the story. That was, who is Macbeth, who is Duncan, and who is Malcolm.
Do I get 900?
No, you get 300 for answering it correctly. Okay, Eric?
I want time and place for 300, Haley.
Okay, this story takes place in, and this will be the time period.
Oh, time period.
What is Shakespearean time?
When is the 1800s?
Okay, you got the WH question right. It is a when because it is a time period. But,
When is the 1700s?
no.
When is the 1600s?
When is Shakespearean times?
When is
This story takes place in the 11th century.
When is the 11th century? So no one
Okay.
gets that.
Choose one.
Events for 300?
This is something that Beth can see, but no one else can.
What is a ghost of his friend?
Yes, that is correct. Okay, Eric, choose a topic.
Random for 300.
Macbeth tells his wife that his mind is full of these. Yes.
What are ghosts?
No.
Oh.
What are thoughts?
No. If we need a refresh of the story, I can bring those out if you'd like.
Oh.
I
No.
think I know. What are ambitions?
No.
What is no guilt?
Y'all have the WH question correct, but it is what are scorpions?
What?
That's not.
Please stop it. Right now we have Eric's team in the lead, but we're going to go to Final Jeopardy and go double or nothing. This is the main idea of Macbeth. Kendra's team.
Ambition without moral. What is ambition without moral?
What is...
Possum. She got double or nothing. Kendra's team won. What is ambition without moral constraint? Is dangerous. Okay. We are gonna go over some mistakes that were made. For some of the who questions, we put what because we said, like, determining if a ghost is a who or what. Can anyone explain why a ghost is a what instead of a who? No more buzzer. Eric?
Maybe because a ghost is the idea of a former who, but now is dead, and now is a what.
There's no sentience, therefore it's not.
It does not
I
think,
like that
therefore
vocab
it is
word.
not.
We will go over that in the next class.
Cannot think, therefore it is not.
I think therefore I am.
Okay. We're done here.